Watchers of the Marvel Multiverse, there's still time to enter to win a replica of Captain America's shield. All you need to do is like this video, leave a comment below telling us who your favorite Marvel villain is, and then subscribe to the Marvelous Wave. Then head over to Twitter and tweet us at @stupendousswave with hashtag the Marvelous Wave. The winner will be announced on March 19th, so keep an eye out. Watchers of the Marvel Multiverse, we have an interesting theory we want to propose to you today. We believe that Tony Stark was more than just an important part in the Avengers' success in Endgame. We believe that he was the key and the only one who could save everyone. When he snaps his fingers, ridding the universe of Thanos and his allies, this was only a small part of how Tony is the reason for the universe being saved. We want to start though where we first thought of this theory, when Doctor Strange looks through 14,605 timelines and only saw one where the Avengers win. Something to keep in mind here is that Doctor Strange used the time stone to see all the timelines up until his own death, meaning he probably saw many where he died protecting the time stone, disappearing in the snap never to return, some where he survived the snap but was unable to bring everyone back, and then the final one where he disappears and then reappears to see the Avengers succeed. Although the heroes on Titan fought to get the glove from Thanos, the whole time Doctor Strange likely knew how everything would have to end. In relation to the 14,605 timelines though, the one big difference that I theorize between the one where the Avengers eventually win in Endgame and all other timelines is because Tony is killed fighting Thanos. Except for the one where Doctor Strange gives up the stone. It is because Doctor Strange stopped Thanos before killing Tony, asking him, as he says, "Spare his life and I'll give you the stone." I believe that because Doctor Strange did not do this in all the other timelines, it is Tony's death at Thanos' hand that makes it impossible for the Avengers to succeed. One of the first things to think about is that when Doctor Strange gives up the time stone, it sets everything in motion. Doctor Strange gave the time stone up for a good reason, as the Ancient One hits at when the Hulk suggests that Doctor Strange made a mistake. She responds to this by saying, "Strange is meant to be the best of us," to which Hulk says, "So he must have done it for a reason." And then she says, "I fear you might be right." She knew that Strange would one day take up the mantle of Sorcerer Supreme, and also knew that when he did, he would take his calling seriously. So when the Ancient One hears this, she knows he had to have a good reason to give up the stone, despite it giving Thanos exactly what he wanted. The only timeline where the Avengers succeed is the one where Strange doesn't live up to his calling because he is aware of something much more important than simply keeping the stone safe. I believe that by giving up the stone, it caused a butterfly effect. First, by keeping Tony alive, letting him live on to one day be the only one able to unravel the time-traveling paradox. Second, by indirectly choosing the timeline that kept the heroes that would be necessary to bring everyone back. A team with the right combination of strength, teamwork, and intelligence. Third thing is the rat that activated the portal that let Scott Lang out of the quantum realm. The probability of it walking on the right buttons to let Scott Lang out is not very high, so unless Doctor Strange gave up the time stone, it likely wouldn't have happened in the other timelines. It would have been hit or miss, where if Scott did get out, he never would have found Tony to solve the time-traveling paradox. This also leaves the possibility that in other timelines when there was someone else who could have helped solve time travel, Scott Lang never escaped from the quantum realm, or he escaped too early, never discovering the quantum realm's time travel properties. So with Doctor Strange giving up the stone in one of the 14 million timelines he viewed, he set in motion all the probabilities so that Hulk could reverse Thanos' snap and Tony could rid the universe of Thanos. The second part of this theory is just how important Tony is. Tony likely died at every point when Thanos raised the gauntlet to him, and his death led to Doctor Strange, Spider-Man, and the Guardians of the Galaxy to fight harder, leading to their eventual deaths and loss of the time stone no matter what in every timeline. Iron Man is important to the MCU because he is the pinnacle of a human that is a hero, and that is why he had to survive. And the only way that was going to happen was if Doctor Strange willingly gave up the time stone. Tony, or Iron Man, is one of the most, if not the most important characters in the first three phases of the MCU. I mean, first off, he set everything off in the MCU, but more importantly, he is quite often the leader of the Avengers and a prime example of a hero that is constantly trying to help others, even if he doesn't exactly know how. He is the most human of all of the Avengers. We see this at his origins, when he sells weapons to the US military thinking he's helping his country, but finding out that his company is hurting far more than it's helping. He does this again when he built Ultron to defend the world but accidentally released an AI that wants nothing more than the destruction of mankind. And then once again with the Sokovia Accords to help protect the Avengers and the world from the Avengers' mistakes, ultimately splitting the team because Captain America and his disagreements. Once again, Tony is the most human of all of the Avengers. The most he has is his intelligence, but on top of that, he has no special training, no magic, no enhanced abilities. He's just a man with many flaws, and boy does he know it. But without those flaws and his human spirit, he wouldn't have the fight to build the Iron Man armor in the first place, or eventually get over his anger and frustration with Captain America, to solve the mysteries of time travel, reform the Avengers, and ultimately defeat Thanos. But in the end, to save the universe and be the hero, he had to sacrifice himself. As a mere human, he carried the power of the Infinity Stones, and unable to maintain their godlike power they produced, he gave everything for everyone in the MCU. He was just a mortal man who did his best to protect the world and his family. Tony was the only one that Doctor Strange saw that he could trust with this endeavor, and the only one capable of giving everything up for everyone. But none of this would have been possible if Doctor Strange didn't give up the Time Stone and ask Thanos to spare Tony. To go along with this, does this mean Thanos' decision to spare Tony carried over to the snap, ensuring that he'd survive? When Doctor Strange asked Thanos to spare Iron Man, tied to Thanos' respect for Tony, did Thanos, whether consciously or subconsciously, spare Tony from the snap? I for one theorize that this could have been a subconscious action that Doctor Strange was actually counting on. When he asked Thanos to spare Iron Man in exchange for the stone, he planted that idea in his mind, prepping the events to move forward with the Avengers' eventual, although difficult, victory. Since the Infinity Gauntlet is activated by the user's will, since it was Thanos' will to let Tony live when he had the chance, that stuck with him up until he snapped and inadvertently let the man who would ultimately foil his plans live. I don't think it could have been a conscious decision because Thanos' goals and personality. Nebula states that he isn't a liar before his death at Thor's hands, and Thanos made the point that half of every living being would be removed at random, playing no favorites. So I don't think Thanos could have done this on purpose and wouldn't, or that would go against everything he stood for and his goals. But there is always the possibility that it was just random, and Strange knew which reality he needed to follow where Tony would be alive and on the path to being the hero. I think Tony Stark became the face of the MCU, and everything was being set up for him to be the one that saved the universe from evil that was being built up for many years. Iron Man was the only one who could save the MCU, and in doing so immortalized himself for years to come in the MCU and with the fans. But what do you think of this theory? Do you think that Tony is the only one who could save the MCU, or do you think that if Doctor Strange saw a few more timelines, he could have seen a few others where nobody had to die or somebody else could have filled the role? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Then please like this video and subscribe to The Marvelous Wave to assemble and join our team, and have a great